There is a special place in our capital city where people can not only be entertained, but can entertain if they so wish. It's a place that has been making people laugh and cry since 1936. It has seen many, many memories and lifelong friendships made over the years, and it just happens to sit right beside a beautiful rose garden. I'm talking about Raleigh Little Theatre. Raleigh Little Theatre is one of the longest-running community theaters in the United States. It was the very first community theater in the Southeast to cast actors of color during segregation in a 1936 production of Quicksand, only the company's second production ever. RLT currently produces 10 to 11 plays, musicals, and children's theater shows each year, as well as other events like movies and concerts in the amphitheater. In addition to the constant productions being rehearsed and sets and costumes being built on site, RLT also offers classes and summer camps for young people. There are 2 indoor theaters and 1 outdoor, as well as a rehearsal space, dressing rooms, a costume shop, and a scenic construction shop on site. The whole operation is run by a full-time and part-time staff of around 16 at full production capacity, along with some 600 volunteers. Annually, Raleigh Little Theatre entertains more than 40,000 people. I sat down with Executive Director Heather Strickland to ask a very basic question. Why does a community need theater?
My partner, our artistic director, Patrick Torres, puts it best when he says anyone gets to come live their best creative life here, right? So that could mean you come get to build or paint a set. That could mean you come get to help sew a costume. That could mean that you get to be on stage, and it's not that you necessarily have to have training or expertise in any of those areas. You just get to come here and see what it's like to do that. And not only is it then understanding what it means to be a part of creating the art, but then we all know, all of those of us that have been involved in theater in any way, we know that we build friendships and families around the process of creating theater. So, not only do you get to come and try out this new skill set or understand this art form a little bit better, but then you get to build community. And I've seen that change lives for teenagers that might have been struggling to be a part of that kind of community. I've seen adults completely change the life that they're living after they experience that sort of community. So I know firsthand, I'm sure it's done it for me in many ways, that is possible. So when I think about what does it mean to be in service, it's providing that for anyone that wants to be a part of that.
Some famous names have been among those in the Raleigh Little Theatre family over the years, including the Academy Award-nominated film legend Ava Gardner, TV star and beloved North Carolina son Andy Griffith, Malcolm in the Middle and Agent Cody Banks star Frankie Muniz, perhaps the most famous American Idol runner-up Clay Aiken, and the chilling adventures of Sabrina's Lachlan Watson. And while you could go from a little theater stage to the little or big screen, that's not the main focus of the RLT team.
Yes, we are an organization that creates and teaches theater, but let's take that a step further, because we create and teach theater in service to our community, in order to change our community, in order to benefit our community. Community theater has started to evolve to a point where it tries to keep up with regional theater, because that's how we make money, with ticket sales and selling class registrations. Well, maybe we should question that model a little bit. Maybe we should pull it back in the other direction and not put that sort of pressure on the earned income side of community theater, and really think about, well, how do we sort of think about a very different funding model that is truly in service to a community, and is accessible and is inclusive and is equitable in all the ways that theater can be.
That mission to serve the community began during the Great Depression, when local performers teamed up with the Federal Works Progress Administration to create jobs and educational opportunities for the Raleigh community. RLT's campus has a fascinating backstory. As the company acknowledges on its website, the campus sits on lands belonging to the Lumbee and Tuscarora tribes. But the first theatrical productions didn't take place here for the first 3 seasons. The first play performed by the new Raleigh Little Theatre was The Drunkard by P.T. Barnum. And yes, that's the Barnum of Barnum and Bailey circus fame. The Drunkard was performed downtown at the Murphy School Auditorium, which is now home to another well-known theater company, Burning Coal. This first RLT production included a then unknown young actor by the name of Andy Griffith. The first few seasons of RLT were performed at the Murphy School, but as audiences and productions grew, the company needed more space. Work had begun in 1936 on the amphitheater and the large auditorium at the current site, which had previously been the second home of the North Carolina State Fair. The oval shape of the campus remains from what used to be the racetrack. And during World War I, the site had actually been a training ground for tank drivers as part of Camp Polk. By the summer of 1938, the amphitheater had been completed, but the auditorium building was in trouble, mired in a sea of red tape and municipal bureaucracy. It was Canty V. Sutton, daughter of a University of North Carolina president and wife of the executive of Carolina Power and Light, who stepped in. A talented singer and performer herself, Sutton was an enthusiastic patron for Raleigh Little Theatre, and she gets the credit for pushing its construction through to the end. The auditorium, which seats 300, was completed in 1940 and now bears the name of Miss Sutton. In 1990, a smaller thrust stage theater was added, known as the Gatty Goodwin Teaching Theater. Anne Preston Bridgers, a playwright and early proponent of RLT, had this to say of the community's endeavor. The purpose of the Little Theatre from its very beginnings was to build a democratic organization wherein the people of the community were welcomed to find recreation and creative outlet. The trend has never been towards a closed membership. That's a message that the current administration of Raleigh Little Theatre really take to heart.
We've got to look at theater as a business. We've got to look at theater as an operation and really pull apart all the areas that white supremacy characteristics have popped up in theater. You know, we've got to look at the vendors that we hire to print our programs or to run our websites or to help us sell tickets. We have to look at subscription models, because subscription models are based on this idea that you can pay a lot of money up front for the best seats, and then everyone else gets all the other seats that are the side seats or the balcony seats, right? That's not a model that is unique to how we do things. That is how theater is done. And, you know, those are all models that are based on the working class performing for the upper class. And that is the white upper class. And that's not how it should be, and we've got to break all of those models apart that contribute to that. The arts and theater are just as critical to society and growth of communities and economic growth in areas. Why shouldn't it be a service that we would fundraise for in order to provide it to everyone around us? I don't think it's that far off from things like early childhood, from retirement services, from health services, right? Because when you put all of those things together for a community, that is a truly full life that you have given to the surrounding area.
Perhaps the best evidence that Raleigh Little Theatre has been successful in bringing people together is in the stairwell backstage in Sutton Theatre. Here you can see the names and comments of actors and crew members, young and old, over years of productions. This theater obviously means something to them. And if you're interested in learning more about Raleigh Little Theatre, I definitely recommend you check out their website, go see a show, or come to an audition. And hey, if you like this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, or maybe even a subscribe. There will be lots more stories like this one coming. Thanks.